Nutrabolt just made a substantial investment move that I believe supports my prediction I called outlandish just over a year ago. Instead of keeping you on a cliffhanger until the end, let's just jump right into what I was referring to in that introductory statement. At the end of each year, I put together a list of sports nutrition industry event predictions that I believe could happen over the next year or so. But to optimize those content pieces for entertainment, my big rule is that I must take outlandish, Happy Gilmore style prediction swings. But just like Tiger Woods emulating art,
That's a lot hard.
Definitely
That's really
cannot
hard,
do this.
actually.
It was
Nope.
actually difficult. No, it's not.
I mean, are we surprised?
I've gotten too many of those outlandish predictions correct throughout the years, so I decided it's time to hit those pesky federal agencies with a juke move and end that annual content series before they think I have more actionable insider information than Nancy Pelosi. But there's no harm in blowing off the dust on last year's outlandish event predictions content, right? My second outlandish sports nutrition industry event prediction for 2023 is that Nutrabolt goes public, or at least files its S1 paperwork in probably Q4. Yes, Nutrabolt, the owner of Cellucor or C4 Energy, just had a juicy liquidity event with Keurig Dr. Pepper. Yes, Nutrabolt would be a company that I would describe as like slow and steady. Yet I sense a few converging forces that are just too tasty to pass up. Firstly, I think the uncertainty in the stock market clears up during the back half of 2023 and the IPO floodgates open up again. Secondly, Celsius Holdings valuation stays incredibly rich, so comps will be great. Thirdly, Nutrabolt wants to build the kind of performance nutrition Kraft Heinz portfolio, and the only way to do that is through the public markets. And after hearing that, you're probably like, Josh, I just looked on my stock trading app and I couldn't find Nutrabolt or C4 Energy. Yes, I know, but this isn't one of those annoying I told you so call outs. It's worse. I'm warming up right now for the future victory lap because I think my base case for that Nutrable prediction is still sound. I bet I was a little bit too bullish timing wise on the IPO markets. It's what I mentioned at the very end of that clip about Nutrabolt wanting to build the health and wellness version of the Kraft Heinz company, which also aligns to the inspiration for this content. On January 17th of 2024, Nutrabolt announced that it made a significant minority investment into Bloom Nutrition. The investment provides Nutrabolt with an ownership stake of approximately 20%, making the company Bloom's largest investor. It's important to note that the Bloom's co-founders, Mari Llewellyn and Greg LaVecchia, will remain the majority shareholders. This investment is part of a larger $90 million financing that also includes veteran CPG investor Clayton Christopher and the consumer investment firm Amberstone. Along with the investment, Nutrabolt's chairman and CEO, Doss Cunningham, and then also Clayton Christopher, will join Bloom's board of directors. And before I break this down from both brand perspectives and also discuss what it could mean to the broader green supplement market, let me just initially say that I think this deal is accretive to both parties in their own kind of different ways. But how about we start off with Bloom Nutrition? If you don't know the founding story, it basically goes something like this. After hitting rock bottom mentally and physically, Mari Llewellyn turned to fitness, lost over 90 pounds, and transformed her life with the help of her now husband, Greg LaVecchia. After deciding to start posting on social media about her transformation and then also her ongoing wellness journey, things like sharing her diet and workout routines, followers grew more interested in how to get the same results. That turned into a hugely successful paid digital products business, which eventually blossomed into the Slay Fitness app. A little over a year later, Bloom Nutrition launched not with its popular greens and superfoods product, but 3 flavors of a pre-workout powder that didn't sell very well. When I chatted with Greg LaVecchia back in September of last year, He mentioned those first year kind of struggles before the product strategy pivoted to greens during the early part of 2020. While finding the right product was just one element, it definitely unlocked immense value when it paired with Bloom's strategic alignment between its sales and marketing functions. The TikTok viral greens and superfoods powder from Bloom has evolved from simply being a successful community driven digital business to now a top selling wellness product across mega omni-channel retailers like Target and Walmart. This resulted in Bloom becoming one of the fastest growing brands in supplement industry history. And I have a hard and kind of fast rule to not talk about internal, not so public stuff at privately held companies. So I'll just say that all of this like overnight success at Bloom hasn't come without hiccups. We often glorify these rocket ship growth brands, but it's these outliers that worry me because trying to get too big too quickly is a potentially huge risk that gets overlooked within the CPG industry. I often use the analogy of Icarus when talking to consulting clients about managing hypergrowth. You know, the tale in Greek mythology that teaches you not to fly too close to the sun. The Icarus paradox is that these high flying brands have something like truly special that distances them from the competition. But sometimes that specialness applied elsewhere or through the proxy of a growing team or in an increasingly complex scenario that can cause a multitude of near term and future problems. You want to know a great way to manage against this risk, and it's actually probably the key element of why I love this deal for Bloom. Most people will focus on how Nutrabolt's investment will provide strategic growth capital to fuel and accelerate many different areas of Bloom's business, from demand generation activities to product innovation. But I'm excited about a small quote from Greg Lavecchia at the bottom of the press release. He stated that he is thrilled to work with Nutrabolt, as their expertise and resources as industry leaders will enable us to scale effectively. Nutrabolt is one of the most buttoned up companies I've seen coming from the sports nutrition space. If applied in the right manner, that decision making maturity will be extremely helpful during Bloom's aggressive scaling phase. And maybe this is a good time to transition into the Nutrabolt side of this investment. I'm going to skip over a lot of the kind of earlier, what used to be called Woodbolt distribution, like origin details. But the important year for the company was in 2009 when the sports nutrition brand Cellucor launched in GNC. 2 years later, Cellucor launched the C4 pre workout product, which is now and has been for several years the leading pre workout brand globally. Throughout the next few years, Nutrabolt launched several other supplement brands like Neon Sport and Royal Sport, but those ended up being discontinued for one reason or another. And then in April of 2017, Nutrabolt completed its only acquisition in Scivation, which is the maker of Extend, the top selling post workout recovery brand in the US market. A year later, Nutrabolt likely made the single most important decision in the company's history by launching its C4 carbonated energy drinks. For one, it generates massive sales for the company to the tune of $533 million in retail sales last year, growing at 67% year over year. Secondly, that success in arguably the most important non alcoholic beverage category in the US market attracted a $863 million investment from Keurig Dr. Pepper in December of 2022. Along with the approximately 30% equity stake in Nutrabolt, KDP has the rights to increase ownership in certain capital raising scenarios. I mention that clause because, well, it supports the notion of a future IPO. But right now, that KDP cash infusion allows them the flexibility to take on the role of investor while also fueling the energy drink platform growth. As I stated earlier, it's my belief that Nutrabolt wants to build a health and wellness version of the Kraft Heinz company. While some portfolio expansion might come from internal brand development, I believe most of it will happen because of accretive deal making and full on acquisitions that extend Nutrabolt into more key consumer driven wellness platforms. So, Bloom might mark Nutrabolt's first minority investment, but I don't see it being the last. But beyond the category expansion type stuff and similar to the under the radar value creation on the other side of the deal, Nutrabolt can learn a thing or two from Bloom. Firstly, and maybe most obviously, Bloom will be helpful in Nutrabolt gaining insights into today's female Gen Z audience. Secondly, Bloom has shown its ability, even at its early stage and smaller budgets, to really understand what its customer wants, from communication style and content method to the shopping journey. Plus, they've done a great job at being able to both build community online, but also achieve the more difficult part of creating deployable movement with those communities offline. And then maybe something less obvious, Nutrabolt needs an injection of passionate entrepreneurial spirit. Bloom has built a successful company around the founder's life work. And that's intoxicating to a company that had that juice and then lost it during the maturation process. And I'm not saying that Nutrabolt doesn't have passionate people or an effective culture. Again, I think they're one of the most buttoned up growth companies in the entire sports and active nutrition space. But with them building a new state of the art headquarters that will be finished this year, it's a key time to reset the energy levels for this next push of the company. But for this final section of the content, I want to discuss what I think this could mean to the broader green supplement market. Over the last 7 to 10 years, the supplement industry has undergone an enormous shift in marketplace dynamics. It's like this huge pot that's melding together things like an overall mainstreaming effect in consumer intents around active lifestyles. And it's that broader appeal that's disseminating the supplement categories across all large retail channels. This kind of incubated within the supplement industry brands have started to directly or indirectly steal share from conventional market leaders up and down the categorical scoreboard. So now these large food and beverage CPG portfolios see these supplement extensions performing at similar high frequency and repeat rates. They then pair that growing categorical format comfort with the fact that it offers a more favorable margin profile and stronger digital penetration, and things start to get interesting. So, while I don't think this is a huge signal for quick future investment activity in the green supplement category, I want to mention that because of KDP's earlier investment in Nutrabolt, they are also now, by proxy, owners of Bloom. That being said, I do believe, regardless, that the green supplement market is primed for investment over the next few years from the large food and beverage CPG brand portfolios. I think this is driven by them finally realizing, maybe because of the GLP-1 weight loss shock, that modern American life constantly messes with our ability to achieve even a fraction of the wellness standards we set. Thus, to achieve those health, fitness, and body image goals, consumers will increasingly look to fill nutrient gaps with supplements. It started with the largest multivitamin companies being acquisition targets. Then the next wave were meal replacement brands, and soon it will be with green supplement powders. But I just wanted to end with this quick final thought. Knowing the owners on both sides of this deal, I just wanted to congratulate everyone publicly. Whether my future predictions about a Nutrabolt IPO ultimately come true or not, I still think the C4 Energy product is a sleeping giant. KDP is a great partner, and this new dynamic of deal making leaves a very long runway left for the company. But I hope you guys enjoyed this YouTube video. If you did, consider hitting the like button to support me. Also, help me get to my new short-term goal of 4,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. I'd love to see you join me on this journey, but we need to fix the fact that I think more than 90% of you at this point are not subscribed to my channel, and that makes me extremely sad. But I do want to thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.